Hello, everybody, and welcome to the zoo. I'm the Rusty Panda, and I am here for you. Today we've got Strikeout. Wah, 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 wah. Got to give you the
Hello.
big horn there. So,
Yeah, thank you for having me.
yeah, I'm so happy you're here. So, we are, if anyone has not been to a Wiki Wednesday before, essentially what we do is ask the streamer 15 things they like, 5 things they don't like, and then go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, learning a few things, and also just discussing awesome topics. So, so glad you're here. Books, welcome on in. The first thing that you put on your list was baseball, and so I found this shirt.
The St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, I found this shirt that I went to my very first like professional game, and they were giving out like Mother's Day shirts or something. I went
Oh,
I went with my mother-in-law, and I just had it in a bag. I mean, I've never worn this shirt before. This shirt has been in a bag, and I was like, this will be the perfect opportunity to wear this shirt.
finally, definitely
Yes,
shirt.
that's the reason.
Yep.
Um, so which got you into baseball? Let's talk about baseball.
Yeah. Obviously my name Strikeout. I was like 9 years old when I made my name. I was like, "Ah, what do I like? Baseball. I'm gonna do it about that. But yeah, great question. I started liking baseball when I was really young, probably like 2, 3 years old. I'm from New Jersey. My great grandpa was a Yankees fan. Uh, there's a picture of him holding me like 3 weeks old with a Yankees hat on. My grandpa liked watching the Yankees growing up. And so I spent a lot of time over their house. They used to watch me in the afternoon. So we watched baseball. And from there, I played baseball until my senior year of high school, won a state championship, retired. Um, and yeah, still love watching it to this day.
So you know a lot about baseball from what I've seen on your streams. You know a lot about baseball. So you obviously are a Yankees fan, but
Hmm.
tell me as far as other teams that you enjoy watching, right? So for instance, hockey, like I would consider myself a Rangers fan, but I really
Hmm.
like watching other teams like the Red Wings, right? That's
Yep,
so
yep.
I like enjoy watching them as well. So tell me some interesting facts as far as what you're interested in.
Yeah, and that I'm glad you brought that up because being a Yankees fan is not the most popular thing online. Yankees fans are a little crazy. Fan is short for fanatic, and there are definitely some fanatics out there. And the reason why I sent you baseball as my first thing is because first and foremost, I'm a fan of baseball. I love baseball. It doesn't matter who's on as long as it's not the Astros or the Red Sox. I'll watch him and I'll enjoy the game. There's really not many teams that I don't like watching. Obviously, the exceptions Astros since they're dirty cheaters, and the Red Sox. As a Yankees fan, it would be sacrilege for me to enjoy
Right.
the Red Sox.
Right, right. But
But
yeah,
yeah.
I know that you speak for all the teams, right? So
Mhm.
one of the things you put in, and I'm gonna kind of go back and forth on your list, is MLB 2K.
Yep.
So I mean, you know the rundown, and you said that you host
Yeah, I
competitions and
used to
stuff.
host. Yeah, so um, MLB 2K was the first baseball series that really got me hooked on playing baseball video games. When I was a kid, the first baseball game that I had was MVP Baseball 2003, I think.
Okay.
But that was just it was all right. The MLB 2K series had Derek Jeter on the cover in 2000, I think 5, 6, and 7. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm playing this baseball game. As a
Mm-hmm.
Yankees fan, you know. But yeah, so I got into playing baseball games. Honestly, my favorite thing about video games in general is putting myself in there. And this game was the first game that I played that had a be a career or be a player mode, my career, where you got to, make your own player, name it after yourself, get drafted, start off as a bum in the minor leagues, grind, get better as a player, and eventually make it to the majors. So, that got me hooked. And then I, unfortunately, MLB 2K stopped making games, I think in 2013
That is correct.
ish. Yep, 2013. And there were no games for the Xbox anymore that were baseball. So I was bummed. And eventually, I think it was like my sophomore year of college, I asked my parents for a PlayStation for Christmas, and they got me. And I got MLB The Show, which is the only baseball game that's made right now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's no more deals.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so that's what I do. Like you said, I hosted for a long time. I hosted tournaments every single Saturday, much to my girlfriend's chagrin. Not able to enjoy a Saturday. Um, but yeah, and all of that just stems from loving baseball, wanting to grow a community and get more people involved in playing. I think I gave away like $20 gift card every time someone, $25 every single week for a while.
Wow.
Um, it was just a nice thing to do. Like I said, I just wanted to get more people involved and enjoying playing and communicating and talking about baseball.
Now, do they do? They probably do. Like NFL has brackets.
Yep,
Do they do that
yep.
for baseball?
So the way that baseball works, and they've actually recently changed it because of the COVID year.
Okay.
They wanted to get some more teams in, but the way that the playoffs work is essentially there are six divisions in baseball. There's the Eastern, Central, and Western divisions in both the American League and National League. The top team from each one of those goes to the playoffs.
Okay.
Additionally, they have wild card teams. I
Okay.
believe they're up to three wild card teams now, and the two wild card teams play each other, and then they play the third wild card team, and then those four top teams on each side make that bracket. Um, Yep, there is the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
They make the bracket, and then it's five best of seven in the championship series, and then the World Series is best of seven. So they've kind of expanded the playoffs a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. I'm kind of mixed on that. Baseball has the longest season by far,
Yeah.
162 games.
Oh my god.
Thankfully, they've made some rule changes that have made it more accessible to people. Attendance and viewership is way up this year, which is great. I love that the game is growing. Um, but yeah, after 162 games, I feel like if you're not one of the top teams, like come on, you had your chance.
Right. At that point, it's pretty obvious who the
Exactly.
MVP is. So get nerdy with me. So old
Yep.
time. I'm looking at like old time Rise of Ruth and
Hmm.
all of that stuff. Tell me what you know about what not what you know about, but like we have the okay, so Kansas City Monarchs, the Negro
Yep.
American League, right?
Yep.
So we have our own museum and all that other
Yep.
stuff. So I'm fascinated in that concept of like
Hmm.
how did this happen?
The segregation of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah. So actually, one of the most amazing things, not many people know about this, but in recent years, they've actually integrated the Baseball Hall of Fame and baseball statistics. So all of these amazing players, um, like Martin DeHigo, Jackie Robinson obviously broke the color barrier, Satchel Paige, um, Rube Foster. There are a ton of these amazing players that had amazing careers in the Negro leagues and weren't recognized. Those stats didn't matter. But recently they integrated those and they said, hey, all of your stats matter. They're official. They count, and that was really awesome.
Yeah.
And this year, on top of that, MLB The Show, the new baseball game that we were talking about, created storylines. I think there are about 10 or 15 storylines for the Negro League players,
Okay.
in which they not only kind of explain, yeah, Jackie Robinson, Buck O'Neill, Satchel Paige, Rube Foster. They go through those players' careers and say like, hey, they started playing on this, and then this, and then this, and yes, it's a video game. Yes, you can skip through that, and like with any cutscene, you can jump to the end. But it's really awesome to see players that didn't get the opportunity to play the game in the majors get their story told, and told in a way of like, hey, just because they weren't in the major leagues doesn't mean that these weren't some kick-ass players that were great at the great
Right.
at the game of baseball.
Right. Right. So okay. So that's pretty sweet. And I think that that's incredible that they are implementing this, that they're
Yeah,
even, talking about it still, and it's important to talk about. So, um, that's amazing.
it
I'm
is.
I'm curious. Okay, so it says it's on Xbox One and Xbox Series S. So,
Yep.
you got the PlayStation, but it came out on Xbox.
Yeah, so when I got a new job, they had this is the second year that it's been on the Xbox, I believe. Xbox or Major League Baseball said enough of this BS. We're not giving the license away to anyone that doesn't make or that makes their baseball game exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So they released it for Xbox starting last year,
Okay.
and I didn't have the PS5 or the Xbox Series S. The Xbox Series S was like $300, so I went out and bought it so that I could play.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of these days it'll come to PC, so all the money I've spent building my PC will let me play the game I want.
A guy can dream, right?
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, I have the Xbox One, and I
Hmm.
know that they're phasing out all these games that you can no longer play on the Xbox One.
Yep.
And do you want to talk about depressing? I mean, I have two Xbox Ones, so
Well, good news is if you have any discs, the Xbox Series X, which is the non-digital version, they are increasing the amount of backwards compatible games
mhm.
that are around. So recently, the Xbox Series X just sold out of the UK because they reopened the servers for the old Call of Duty games,
Oh wow,
and all the people that had all the discs were like, "Yeah, I want to play. I want to play Call of Duty. Like, let me
right?
go get one."
So you said that the X or the S, you can't download games off the internet.
So you can, but the Series S doesn't have an optical disc drive. So the Xbox Series X has the ability to put discs in.
Okay, okay, um, yeah, okay. So we're phasing into the conversation about video games, which is perfect. That's kind of what I wanted. So we're gonna go back to Xbox here because I'm
Hmm.
curious. You had put it on your list, and I'm trying to say like, why do you think it's better or worse than a PlayStation? I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it out there.
That's a great question. And there's console wars, there's Mac versus PC, there's iPhone versus Samsung, all this. Honestly, at the end of the day, I think it boils down to two things. First, what did you use first? When I was 3 years old, my dad's friends used to come over to his apartment and beat the ever living crap out of me in Halo. I'm talking 3 or 4 verse 1. And yeah, and so that was the first game, console that I played on. And the second thing is, what do your friends have? For the longest time, there wasn't cross-platform. The ability for Xbox players to, play with PlayStation players. Now, in 2023, you have that ability to do that. But for the longest time, you didn't. So it boiled down to, what do my friends have? And for
Right.
me, I started playing on the Xbox. All my friends had Xbox, so it wasn't even a discussion or a thought to get the PlayStation.
The PlayStation or the Xbox?
Well, it wasn't a discussion to get a PlayStation because it was just I'm gonna get an Xbox no matter what.
Right. Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. Did you have the 360?
I did. I had the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, which is right there, and then the Xbox Series S is right behind here for when I play MLB The Show.
Yeah, I saw it was $300, and if I ever get $300, $600 because I gotta get two of them.
Oh yeah.
Uh, because we have it set up where we have two TVs and then two
Mhm.
Xboxes, and we can
Oh, that's
play that
awesome.
way. But games
The
that we
Game
play,
Pass, just gotta say, that's a great reason to own an Xbox
yep.
as well. I sound like a shill. I'm gonna sound like a shill in a little bit when we talk about audiobooks too. But it's the second best $15 I spend every month to get all the games on the Xbox and the computer.
Yeah, and the
Great
fact
reason
that
to
it
have it.
is computer compatible,
Yep.
that's fun to say. But the fact that it is with the Game Pass, you, I mean, do you technically even have to own an Xbox to do Xbox Game Pass?
So you don't. I have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate
Right.
because I have MLB The Show on the Game Pass. So already $60. I save $60 a year just from owning the game. Save. I don't have to buy a $60 game,
Right.
and then Starfield is coming out in
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks, and I'll get that literally day one. Don't have to spend any extra money. So for me, it pays for itself. But technically, you don't have to have an Xbox. There is cloud gaming. Anyone that's familiar with NVIDIA Shadow Play or um, Google Stadia, which just stopped. um, you can technically play on your computer, but there is latency involved, and I'm I didn't spend all this money on my computer to play with a laggy.
Yeah, we have to update my graphics card because I was trying to play a video game today and it kept crashing on me.
Oh,
Like
that
the
sucks.
whole computer just locks up. I
Yep,
tried
just
to do
blue
that with
screens.
Diablo,
Mhm.
and stream Diablo, and the same thing. Everything just locks up.
Well, if you have a micro center nearby, again, sound like a shill, but I've saved thousands of dollars getting part. I just built my girlfriend Julia a PC less than a month ago, and we saved like $800 from going to
Wow,
micro center.
that's great. Yeah, this one is actually it wasn't built as a gaming machine. It was built as a
Mm-hmm.
server.
Mm.
So it's hefty, but it
Yep.
stopped in like 2009. Like it goes from like 2000 to 2009, when it boots up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I just tried to do an update on the AMD, is it Radeon?
Ryzen, Radeon, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
gotcha.
And they were like, yeah, that's put in a legacy thing, meaning
Oh,
it's no
yeah,
longer,
no longer supported. Yep.
yeah. So I know eventually I'm gonna have to get a gaming machine, but it's like gaming machine, Xbox S, like I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
There's a lot going on here.
There's
Bills.
so much I want to do and not enough money to go around. I feel
Right,
that.
right. Um, so were you ever a fan of like Sea of Thieves or when it first came out?
um, I'm gonna sound like such a hater. I've
No, don't
tried
sound
like
like a hater.
six
I don't like it.
times. I've tried 6 times. Every time my friend's like, "Oh, get it, re-download it, blah blah blah." I try. I've downloaded it 7 or 8 different times. It's like 300 gigs.
It's heavy.
Every single time I get it, it's like I have fun for an hour, and then you do the same mission for the fourth time in a row, and I'm like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, guys. I'm out.
So would you ever be like Apex Legends streamer only? Like, are you the type of person that could just play Fortnite or just play Apex Legends or just
Well, I
play
did that for a
Overwatch?
while,
Yeah.
MLB The Show, and there's a reason why I stopped streaming. That's part of it is you kind of pigeonhole yourself
Mm-hmm.
into one specific thing. Obviously the other part is graduated college, full-time job, all that kind, but
Right.
it's not fun to feel obligated to have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately anyone that's watching that streamed or has streamed for a while knows that at a certain point it starts to feel like a job, and you feel, I mean, like, your series, the Wiki Wednesday. I like I said, I've watched it a few times. I love it, but I'm sure you sometimes feel obligated, like, oh, I'm having a bad day. I have to wake up. I have to, I have to do this. Everyone's expecting it on a Wednesday, and there's nothing wrong with that. But doing the same thing every day or once a week, even if you're not feeling it, can be tough. So I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah, I always get like confused on people who are like, I'm an Apex Legends streamer.
Hmm.
And I'm like, how do you play the same game over and over and over and over and over and over and
If
over
you're
again?
making $100,000 a month, you might think differently. Like,
Right.
I'm sure some of those people are, but
Right.
still.
But I have like friends who are like average maybe 30 to 40, right? At
Hmm.
viewers each time.
Hmm.
And basically they just play the same game over and over. Fortnite,
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Now, when I'm doing something like Wiki Wednesday, I'm communicating to somebody who has different thoughts, different ideas. We're going down
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
Wikipedia things.
Yeah.
I'm doing something different even though I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't see that happening. I see that happening sort of with Dead by Daylight, but it's with constrictions,
Hmm.
right? You're
Yeah.
always going to go to
Yeah.
the generator. You're always
Yeah.
going to have a killer. You're always going to whatever.
You're always gonna
So,
have to escape. Yep.
right. And that formula that you follow, I just don't understand how people can follow that. Now, I'm not down on people who can do that.
Yeah. No.
I'm just
Do whatever makes you
confused
happy. Yeah.
how they do that.
Hmm.
It's like somebody who, do you meal prep?
I do.
How?
But, well, so here's the thing with that. For me, it's mostly a money thing because I spend so much on lunch when I don't have something ready for me to eat. Even if it's like a $5 biggie bag from Wendy's, that's
Right.
$5 a day. That's $25 a week. Not including the weekends. Like, okay, $25 a week. That's not too bad. But when I meal prep, it's all right. I'm gonna make rice, chicken, green beans, corn, like something that's healthy. All of that I make 8 meals, four for me, four for my girlfriend, for 15-20 dollars. it's
Right.
it's mostly a money thing, and also I don't mind eating the same thing for lunch. I can't eat the same thing for dinner. Every night I make dinner. Like, I just made chicken and rice before I got on, or stir fried chicken and rice. But
Yeah, the same thing. My dad could eat chicken tenders every single day, no matter what day it was, and it could be lunch or dinner. And I wish I had the ability to do so,
Mhm.
but I need like a palate change. Even if I'm like halfway through a meal, I'm making sure that I have the salad, and then I go ahead and have
Gotcha.
some steak, and then I switch over to the mashed potatoes and come back to the salad. Like, I can't just eat steak and
That
then
makes
eat
sense.
salad and mashed potatoes. So, tangent. Um, Going back to video games. So, burnout is what you're talking
Mhm.
about.
Yeah.
Um, why is it that you can't unpigeonhole yourself?
Well, I think that, and one of the things I listed on um my thing I sent to you was like content creation in general,
Mm-hmm.
and I have been watching content on YouTube pretty much since YouTube became a thing. I had my first iPod Touch in like the 6th grade, and I was like, oh my god, I can watch video games that I can't play on this. Watching Let's Plays, that kind of stuff. I think that, unfortunately, the big streamers that you see, the 0.0001% streamers, like XQC or Ludwig, or whoever these variety streamers are, they are great streamers. But they have the ability to play any game they want at any time because they've built up that audience. If
Right.
you're trying to grow on Twitch, it's very difficult, or YouTube, if you are not following a specific formula. Post consistently, whether that's every day, every week, whatever it is, it needs to be consistent and following a schedule. And you need to find a niche so that you can grow it. You're not going to make, you're not gonna get big on Twitch or YouTube, posting, you know, 17 episode ones of a let's play for various different games.
Right.
Like, as unfortunate as that is, like, you have to ride whatever wave that you find in order to grow. Like you said, whether that's Apex or, Fortnite, whatever it is that can allow you to get to a broader audience, you need to hope that that rise is big enough to where when you do switch and you inevitably lose 10, 20, 30% of your viewers, you're big enough to then attract new viewers at whatever game or thing that you switch to.
Right. So I know this is going to sound horrible, but why does that matter? Right. So to me, I can have two people in my room. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
playing that video game
Yep.
anyway.
Yep.
So I am not a fan of like, comment, subscribe. That model just drives me
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
If I get money from Twitch, that's great. But otherwise,
Yep.
I'm doing it for my community and because I'm gonna do it anyway. So the rise of the streamer, my brother
Mm-hmm.
just sent me a text that he said this guy who plays Magic, he
Mm-hmm.
made like 32,000 on Twitch a year, and
Yep.
made $250,000 on YouTube a
Yep.
year.
Yep.
And so clearly YouTube is the bigger platform, but it's because you can watch it later. You don't have to watch
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
live play Magic. You don't have to watch somebody let's game it out,
Mm-hmm.
if you know that one or not, but basically he breaks games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to watch him live do that. It's already
Yep.
spliced. It's
Yep.
already, you know what I'm saying? So YouTube has a better format of watch it later, where Twitch is all
Well,
watch it live.
Well, there's different, like, we're able to interact with people, and if you want to get your favorite streamer or favorite YouTuber's ear or get them to notice you, there's no better way to do that than on a live stream. Whether or not there's 10 viewers or 10 million viewers, if you're watching that live, there is a higher percentage to get noticed than if you're the 170th, person that commented in that hour
Right.
on a YouTube video.
Right.
And just circling back to how you open this with, you don't care about viewers. I also agree. Like, when I streamed on Twitch, I had a less enjoyable time the larger my stream got, which is kind of another reason why I stopped streaming. Kind of a little tangent, but like,
Oh.
I didn't like when people were asking me where I went to college, where I lived. Like, I didn't like that aspect of streaming. And for me, like you said, I don't care if there's two people watching. Like you said, I'm going to be playing this game no matter what.
Right.
But I do think that for somebody who might view this as a job, or who has to do this for a job for whatever reason, they can feel really pigeonholed. And you see this a lot. You'll see somebody get big enough streaming for fun. I'm sure, people in here that are watching have seen this. Their favorite, up and coming streamer has, 150 viewers every day, having a great time, whatever. Then they take that leap of faith and they say, "Hey, I'm doing content creation full time." The amount of times I've seen someone go content creation full time and then within a year never post again
Mm-hmm.
is, oh my God, I've seen it hundreds of times.
Yeah, and
People burn themselves
unfortunately,
out.
I'm in a lot of discords of people who I looked up to as I came through Twitch, because I started on Mixer and then I
Mm-hmm.
came through Twitch. And as they moved to Twitch, they lost a lot of viewership because Mixer
Mm-hmm.
shut down and they were no
Yep.
longer the prized possession that they once
Mm-hmm.
were. Now,
They were a big fish in a small pond, and then they were a small fish in a big
that's
pond.
a great way to put it. And so they didn't so much care about the viewers, but they did care about their community that they feel like they
Yeah.
lost.
Yep.
And so that they just fizzled out. And it's so sad because they were beautiful people who had beautiful things to say, and the world was better
Mm-hmm.
with them talking, and we lost them.
Yep.
So it's a burnout. And so I
Yep.
understand it. It's kind of like a phase. People go through phases all the time, whether they're, they start out in general studies and decide to be a
Hmm.
philosopher or whatever. We all have
They take up
phases.
knitting or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And then you're like, I'll never knit again. That was the
Yeah.
worst sweater I've ever made. So yeah, I agree with you. I think this was a good conversation to have as far as anyone who's out there who's interested, because this goes on YouTube, which is ironic. So if
Oh,
anybody,
actually, one thing I'll say, I
yeah,
don't mean to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
Um, you mentioned how YouTube might be like the better viewing platform, and I think that that's probably true, right? You're gonna make, if money is what you care about, you're gonna make more money, most likely on Twitch, or most likely on YouTube specifically for brand deals, and they get editorial versions and can, all that, but YouTube is very difficult to grow on because in order to post a video on YouTube, this is all that you need.
Yep.
That's like Twitch is a little bit more involved. Obviously, you can stream right from this as well, but YouTube is very hard to grow on, and that is something, that they are trying to address
Mm-hmm.
actively. They're trying to get people to come over to their site, leave Twitch. You see a site called Kick.
Yep.
Um, we'll talk about that maybe a little
Yeah, no,
later.
I would definitely like to talk about Kick at some
Um,
point.
um,
I have reasons to talk
um,
about it.
but they everyone's trying to take little pieces off, because ultimately when you go from Justin TV, which is right on your screen, which I originally started watching,
Right.
and then it turned into Twitch, and then Amazon bought Twitch. Since Amazon's bought Twitch, it's turned very much into like, oh, we need to make this profitable,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. Every business should try to be profitable. I mean, or else you don't have a business. You have a
Right.
charity.
Right.
Um, but when you make that transition from a startup to, hey, we need to make money, you have to do it the right way. And I don't think Twitch has, where YouTube has that winning formula. They have been making hundreds of millions of dollars every year for 10, 15 years at this point. So to your point, YouTube you are going to make more money on, but it's just very difficult to grow. So that's why you see a lot of people using Twitch or now TikTok and Instagram to grow that audience and hope that a percentage watches them on YouTube, especially if you have YouTube Premium. Like one YouTube Premium view is worth like $8 or something
Wow.
like that on your video. So
Yeah, there
yeah,
was a guy in one of the chats that I was talking in that said he, after 5 years, he finally got monetized on YouTube.
yep,
5 years.
takes a while. Yep.
And I've been doing this now since 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I okay with where I'm at. Like I don't I don't
Yeah.
care about being monetized, but that was a
Yep.
dream of his. That's not my goal, but that's his goal.
Yep. Yep.
And I want him to have his goal, but I understand small fish in a big pond.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about Kick, because this is a topic that's really hot right now, and I think is very interesting.
Might not even be
I
on
know. I was thinking that Kick service.
if you. Oh,
Yep,
there we
it's
go.
on.
So
You start.
this ties into one of my dislikes that I gave you. Stake.com,
Mm-hmm.
huge gambling site, and I hate how pervasive gambling is online, on commercials, and in my opinion, in video games, it starts really young. Like my brothers are 14 and 15 years old, and the amount of times we send pictures of what we pulled in a pack on MLB The Show, which is essentially gambling because you're allowed to have, spend real money to get those stubs to buy packs.
Right.
Like you start off with kids buying loot boxes in every single game nowadays, especially with battle passes, and then they are manipulated by websites like Kick Twitch for the longest time until they outlawed, gambling on stream, onto watching more and more gambling things. And then the second that they want to watch, sports on TV, then it's DraftKings and this and that. And it is just so pervasive now. And, for anyone who doesn't know, Kick, it's probably Twitch's main competitor outside of YouTube at this point in time. Stake.com is a massive gambling website that moved on to its next project. And its next project is creating Kick, which is essentially a Twitch ripoff where gambling is allowed on stream.
Yep.
More specifically, gambling on their website is allowed and encouraged, and they fund big streamers to gamble on stream, and they don't care if they lose because it's all money that Stake is giving them for free to gamble.
And now for me, I get pissed off mainly because it says right here that it focuses on looser moderation.
Yep.
And
Yep.
higher revenue shares for streamers.
Yep.
Now, I've had a friend who specifically moved over to Kick. He was done with Twitch. He wasn't getting the viewers that he wanted. So he's like, let's start out in the Wild Wild West. And immediately he went ahead and he recruited 50 followers in order to get affiliate. I think that's what you need. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm making some money. And I was like, okay, how many white supremacists are in your chat? How many vocalized, people who are actively awful and normally wouldn't be able to be on Twitch because of TOS come on to Kick.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate about it. Like, I understand make your money and blah, 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 and that's your own platform. But when you're encouraging people to not only gamble, where people have addictions, you're also encouraging people to, say what they want to say without having to worry about what they have to say. I don't know.
There's huge drama past couple of days with Sapnap, who just moved over to Kick. Sapnap is one of the biggest Minecraft streamers, YouTubers in the world. If anyone's heard of Dream, who has, hundreds of millions of views, he is a huge YouTuber for Minecraft, streamer for Minecraft. Sapnap just moved over to Kick. Huge deal. And other Minecraft YouTubers were not happy about it because, shock, a lot of people that view Minecraft content are young. And, like you said, there are awful things that are said there. And there were several YouTubers, Minecraft YouTubers. I believe Tommy Innit was the main person going after. I think it was Ed Craven that was tweeting. I don't remember. One of the founders was tweeting, and was like, "Hey, this is," and Tommy was like, "This is allowed on Twitch or on Kick," and it's like, things I don't really want to repeat, but white supremacy things, going after various minorities, going after LGBTQIA, population and communities. Like it is, like you said, to each their own. But I personally feel, and I got flack when I streamed, a moral obligation to my viewers. I knew that I had a lot of younger viewers. Therefore, when people put, things that I thought were inappropriate for children to look at in my chat, I would ban them, much to the dismay of certain people, and they, put up a stink. But ultimately, it's my stream. I don't care. I don't need you. Second of all, there are people in my stream that said, "Hey, I'm 12 years old." Like, I don't want a 12-year-old to see something in my stream. Not that it's my fault necessarily. It's whoever put it in there's fault. But I feel a moral obligation to make sure that people don't see things that make them uncomfortable in my chat. Because like you said, I want to build a good community first and foremost.
Right. Yep. And for me, when I had somebody say I'm 13, I immediately be like, I'm sorry, but you've went ahead and said your age. I'm going to need to kick you out.
Yep. Yep.
And I hate doing it, but you exposed your age. You're under the age of
Yep.
18. This is an 18
Yep.
plus stream.
Yep.
You should have kept your mouth shut, or whatever. Like, I can't in good
Yeah.
conscience allow you to stay
Exactly.
here.
Yep.
So, and you're responsible for what's in your chat. And in Kick, you're not
100%.
really responsible for what's in your
No.
chat.
No. And side tangent, but like, platforms can be inherently worse than others, right? Like Twitter, for example, I've pretty much
Excuse
stopped
me, it's
going.
called X.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
No.
It's yeah. Uh, yeah, it's X. I'm getting ready to delete my account. Like I used to love going on there, seeing, what was trending, seeing some memes. Now I see like awful things. I see so many bots nowadays. Like one of the things that Elon was talking about when he bought Twitter was like, "Oh, how many bots are there?" Blah 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 blah. I have not seen more bots in my over 10 years on Twitter than I have since it turned into X. Like
Right.
that is a platform I don't enjoy going on anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I use Twitter as an automatic upload to say I'm going live. I don't
Gotcha.
really know who sees it. It's just in there. Somebody was like, "I followed you on Twitter. Will you follow me back?" And I'm like, "I don't even think I know how." Like, I just
I don't even know my password.
right. It just does it. But I mean, with that, and my least favorite thing of all time that I think is destroying humanity is TikTok.
Yeah,
I don't even have one. Just
me
hear me
neither.
out. I don't even have one. And it speaks to younger generations who believe that they can get famous by doing things,
That are
reactions to
dangerous.
people's
Yeah.
reactions, I think is the dumbest thing that I've learned from TikTok. Somebody makes a video, and then somebody makes a video that reacts to that video, and then somebody makes a video that reacts to the person reacting to that video, and I'm just like, how is this content like this? And it's kids who are learning how
By
to
the way,
do
guys,
this.
come to my channel. We're gonna react to my girlfriend reacting to this.
Right,
So,
right, exactly. So that's my soapbox, is that I think the only thing that might be worse than Kick is TikTok, and just it could be used for good. It could be used to promote a streamer. It could be used to promote music. It could be used to promote anything. But that's the problem. It could be used to promote anything.
yeah. Yeah, there's an algorithm that Twitch uses, or sorry, TikTok uses. I know algorithms like a buzzword. Anyone that doesn't, I have a computer science degree. Like an algorithm is just a fancy name for a little bit of code that filters things a certain way. And the way that the TikTok algorithm works apparently is they'll give you a video that they know like fits your viewing profile really well. And then, you'll scroll down and they'll give you some videos that maybe you'll like, maybe you don't care about. And my friend, I forget exactly what he named it because we were talking about it. Kind of like the slot machine algorithm, where right when you're about to click off, they give you another one of those videos that like perfectly fits to your profile, so that way you keep going and going and going and just scrolling
Yeah.
endlessly. I
Yeah.
refuse to download TikTok.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to say that because I was worried I was offending you, because I was
No,
worried that
no,
you said that. And I
no.
was like, oh my God, I really hope that he's not into
No, well,
TikTok.
my previous job, I worked in advertising, and I know how much data advertisers get off of your phone. Shout out to Apple and shout out to California and the EU for protecting IDFA for the one person that might understand this. Protecting your unique identifiers, because that makes it very hard for people to oh, that sucks.
Yeah, our car
Um,
got stolen because of TikTok.
was it a Hyundai or
Yeah,
a
it was
Kia?
a Kia.
Ugh, I have a Hyundai, so I feel you.
Yeah.
Um, but it is the amount of information that you can get off of somebody's phone is ridiculous. And I know based on, the congressional hearings with TikTok, some of the things that they admitted to, like they get a lot of information off my phone, like more than I feel comfortable allowing people to get off my phone, even though, let's be honest, like everyone has all your information anyway,
Right.
but it's peace of mind. And anything I can do to make sure my data is somewhat protected, I try my best to do. But I refuse to download TikTok. I just watch them on Instagram like a normal adult.
See, I don't even use Instagram. I have one, and if I do, I'm posting pictures of my cats, but I don't
Yeah.
scroll. I just post pictures of my cats in
Yeah.
like nice filters.
My girlfriend gets mad at me. I never post her on social media. I don't like social media. I barely go on it. Like, we just had our 7-year anniversary. I think that was like one of the first posts I made on for a while.
On
Like,
Facebook, right?
I post it on Instagram, and then I just, whatever it posts to, I just say have fun.
And hey, Feisty, welcome on in. Same you through ProTune. And Galvos, where have you been? You're on mod. You were supposed to be here 50 minutes ago.
He's fired.
He's fired. Yeah, he's in the other room. He's fine. Okay, so this has been. I know you've been here. I'm just kidding. So okay. So we delved into Xbox. We went into content creation. Let's talk about. We'll go back to video games in a minute. Let's just take a breath. And go into. You said that you have a lot to say about audiobooks. So let's talk about audiobooks.
So yeah, I work from home now 2 days a week. At my last job, every day, and I work in Excel. Excel is extremely monotonous and boring. Once you know how to work a pivot table
Yeah.
and know how to do VLOOKUP,
Oh God.
there's no things that are harder than that.
Right.
So my job is take data, filter it somehow using those formulas or pivot tables, and spit it out to whoever needs it. It is so monotonous. So a few years ago, I decided, oh, you know what? I listened to the Game of Thrones audiobooks right before the last season came out. Big mistake. The books are great. Show, big mistake. But yeah, in a month I read all of the books, watched all of the TV shows, and was ready for opening night of the last season. What a shame. Sidebar, but I a few years ago when I started working, I was like, I gotta do something. I can't watch movies like I'm working, so I re-downloaded Audible. I paid for whatever the Audible subscription is, got some credits, and that's what I do now. I listen to audiobooks while I'm working. I listen to them while I'm trying to fall asleep. My girlfriend hates it. She's like, oh, I can't fall asleep. You just got in bed and I'm hearing, about, spaceships or something like that. But, it really helps me when I'm doing monotonous tasks to have something to focus on. I mostly focus on audiobooks, and then, what I'm copying and pasting in Excel and manipulating is just kind of secondary. But
right. Yeah, I
yeah.
was told that audiobooks are good for that. Like you do monotonous tasks and then you're able to retain the information. I just listened to my very first audiobook on the way to Orlando to see my friends.
Nice.
And it's called Atomic Habits. And it was like a book that my friend was like.
I think that recently came out, right?
I don't know. I could look it up. Atomic Habits. James Clear? Yeah.
It did. So funny, I'm almost positive this book got big on TikTok.
Oh, no joke?
No joke.
Yeah, Atomic Habits, James Clear.
Yep. I heard that was good.
That came out, Atomic Habits, 2012? No. In 2012, he became his first self-improvement
2018,
book.
October. Okay. Yeah, sorry, that was aside.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it basically talks about his life, and
Hmm.
I I tried and I tried and I tried, but my ADHD said, I don't know what he's saying. I think that I need, and this is my solution, is that I think that I need a book and an audiobook
Yeah,
at the same
I
time,
gotcha. I gotcha.
because the words really help, but I get tired of reading. Like, I'm not a type of person that will read
Hmm.
long things. And so I think having both of
Yeah.
them would really help. My name is PETA. My name is PETA.
Oh, that's Pete. He's one
Welcome
of
on
my
in.
viewers.
Um, Atomic has been out for ages. The book was big before TikTok was even invented.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. But things get second like there are so many songs that are played that I'm like, why is this popular? It was released in 2012 or whatever, and then it's my brothers will be like, oh my god, how do you know that song? It's huge on TikTok right now. I'm like, I
I was
was just
born with this
scrolling
song.
on iTunes or whatever, you know. Yeah.
But so I tried and I learned some things. I retained some
Hmm.
of it, but I was told that flying on a airplane doing nothing but listening to an audiobook is not as
It's
good
tough.
as if
Yeah.
I'm doing something while I'm listening to
Driving
it.
or yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was playing puzzles on the way back while I was listening to it, and I feel like I
Hmm.
retained a little bit more, which
I
was
feel
good.
like genre plays a part of that too. Like that is a very much like self-improvement book, like giving you tips and tricks and whatever. Not what I mean. I'm obviously grossly simplifying it, but I think that that is a book that you're taking to heart more than maybe like the Lord of the Rings or one of those books where there are pictures that you're painting in your head versus hey, these are strategies to overcome this. I don't know. I haven't listened to not many nonfiction audiobooks, so
Okay.
I would imagine that they're different
I've been like with
experiences.
college and even my masters, like I'm very
Mhm.
used to the the ways to read certain things
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
nonfiction, right? You
Hmm.
read a lot. And having that self improvement book, kind of like I
Hmm.
understood the structure, and then they did a chapter summary at the end. Loved those. Always tuned into when he
Yeah.
did the chapter summaries. So I was like, did
You
I
hit the
listen to
big
that? Did
points.
I
Yeah.
remember that? I did remember that. Okay, let's move
Yeah.
on. But I don't know if I could listen to fiction books.
Hmm.
It doesn't capture my interest. I'm sure they're
Hmm.
out there. Just the fiction books, like the ones that you named, which we'll go into,
Hmm.
too long, too.
Oh, that ties into Audible. One credit buys a book. It doesn't matter if that book is 2 hours long or 40 hours long. So, to your point, I try to go for the longer ones
Yeah.
because it's like, if I spend this credit, I can either listen to 2 hours or 40 hours. So when it's time to find a new series, I like scour all
Hmm.
of the internet, all the various things to see what is worth listening to spend those credits on.
So tell me about Lord of the Rings and cinematic book universes.
Yeah, good question. So, I growing up, my family loved movies. But I talked about being 3 years old and going over and all my dad's friends beating the crap out of me in Halo. One other thing that happened that was another formative, thing for me was getting introduced to Lord of the Rings. I saw the second and the third one in theaters, but the first one, they showed me when I was like 3 years old because that's how old. Yeah, they came out in 2001, so I would have been three. Um, but that was a huge part of my childhood was Lord of the Rings and I think part of the reason why I enjoyed that so much is because you love these characters and you want to see them develop and do more things. So a couple of the ones I listed I sent to you, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, Cosmere, which is Brandon Sanderson's universe. That's his book universe. Red Rising, I just finished that. I enjoy these shared universes, these big, stories, because you're introduced to a character, and instead of, you know, seeing them in one movie or a movie and a sequel, like there's a direction that they're going. They have long stories, and you get to see them, have their development and then do other things as well. Almost like a TV show,
Right.
except, in longer form
Right.
content.
Right. And like I said, there's probably things out there for me. It's just gonna take like somebody to sit down with me and be like, okay, what do you like to do? Like, okay, what do you
Yeah,
like this? What do you
definitely.
like this? Okay, I
You need
I
a you need
project.
a
You need this. Yeah,
sommelier for
yeah. For audiobooks,
for
100%.
audiobooks, yeah.
Yeah.
I always recommend the Dune audiobook to people who have never read them. My dad, that was his favorite audiobook that I recommended, because there's like 6 or 7 voice actors and a little bit of music in
Oh,
there.
nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Um. So, you said something really funny, and I wanted to bring it up. And so you said my uncles were always beating me
Yeah.
at Halo,
Yeah.
but you stopped there. You made it sound pretty bad that your uncles were always beating you, right? And I don't know
Mhm.
if you remember the story that your mom told, where you were like 3 years old and you were like, "Stop beating me," and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And you guys are walking in the mall. And you keep screaming, "Stop beating me!" And she's looking around, and people are looking around, and she's freaking out. She was walking faster than you, and so you were screaming, "Stop beating me!" And that story has lived with me my entire life.
For anyone that doesn't know, my mom was her teacher, or one of your
Yeah,
teachers
yeah.
growing up.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. But
yeah,
that story
that's
lives on with me forever because I always try to say specific things, and then I realize how it sounds, and then I will go ahead and say it because of that story. So you are an inspiration to me, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, another story with one of those people, and I actually am on a darts team with him now. I called him Uncle Crazy Hair. It was one of my dad's best friends. He apparently dangled me out of the second story
Oh
window
my
when my
god.
dad went to the store, and my dad almost fought him for the first time ever when it
Right.
happened, but he realized how dumb he was being and pulled me up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that I have a lot of interesting stories about that time. But I stopped because the second I beat them in Halo, they moved on to Madden, because
Oh.
they refused to play me, because I beat them once and they're like, "Nah, we can't have this."
Yeah,
So then
no,
they
we're
would play
done.
me in Madden, onside kick, beat me 100-0. I would cry, and then I beat them in Madden, and then we haven't played another game since.
Aw. That's a success story though. You get to the
Yeah,
point where you're like, I beat
it's
my
like
uncles.
Bane. It's like Bane, where I was made by this gauntlet of getting, beaten as a 3-year-old in video games, until I, came out on top.
My brother is getting my nephew to play video games, and one of the things they're
Mm,
playing is Mario Party, and
great game.
he's
Also a
winning.
terrible game.
He's winning. My nephew, who is 5 years old, is actually winning on his own in Mario
Hmm.
Party, and I'm like, what are you raising? Like you want to beat him at all things, and he's gonna grow
He's
up
got to
and kick
switch to
your butt.
Mario Kart, because
Yes.
Mario Party is too random.
Yep.
Like, you
Mario Kart, you got to be.
Mario Party cheats.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they put the little bumpers on just so he can get
Yep.
used to it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
I love the
shared
Mario game.
universes. So, have you ever written a book? Have you ever written
No.
anything that have you ever imagined something that was like
Yeah.
a book, so to speak?
So, yeah, kind of. This is interesting because I didn't think about it till now, but kind of tying in something else I mentioned was tabletop games,
Mhm.
and I had never played Dungeons and Dragons before. Growing up, another big thing, like for my family, movies. We always watched at least 1 or 2 movies a week. I That was the number one thing I missed during COVID, was going to the movie theaters. I've gone 5 times in the last month to the movies. I love doing them. Love going to the movies, but I had never played Dungeons and Dragons before. I played for the first time. We played through Curse of Strahd. And I loved it. And honestly, since I've played, and I've recently been playing Baldur's Gate 3, great game. Anyone hasn't played it, might be game of the year unless Starfield lives up to the hype. But playing through it, I'm like, man, I really would love to like play D&D and be the DM and take all of these different audiobooks that I've read. Um, Let me see. Just to put in perspective, I know we were talking about audiobooks. I swear I'll tie it back in
No, it's
together.
fine. We go on
I
tangents. That's what we
In
do.
May I listened to 166 hours of audiobooks. June 154 hours. Last
Wow.
month 100 hours. This month so far I've listened to 53 hours. So I love consuming audiobooks, and I
Yeah.
listen to so many, genres that I would love to play D&D and um be a DM and like steal all this interesting stuff,
Yeah.
steal a Game of Thrones concept, steal a Red Rising concept, steal a, you know, um why can't Stormlight Archives,
And you can, and you should.
I could and I will. Um but yeah, like that is I feel like the more books I read, like the more the creative juices get flowing, because I graduated with a computer science degree. I work on Excel every day. I am very much an analytical person, and math has always come easy to me, calculus, all that. Like, I had to do it. Was it fun? No. Did I pass and get A's and B's? Yes. Like, it wasn't the most challenging for me, because that's just the way my brain is wired. That sounds like,
No, I get it. My brain is
for
wired in
me,
the arts and in the arts.
yeah, I struggled with my writing classes.
Right.
Like, I it took a lot to get those creative juices out of me, and with all this reading that I've been doing, I feel that flowing again. Like, my mom's a teacher, obviously, but for everyone else, like, I read a lot as a kid. I learned how to read, when I was like 4, because my mom would read every night to me, and then, I was reading to her, and by the time I was in like first grade, I was reading her third grade books with me, because she had just read so much.
Right.
And until I was in high school, I read probably like 50 books a year. And then once I got into high school, I played baseball, and all my free time went out of the window,
Right.
and I played video games. But, kind of rediscovering my love of reading through audiobooks has made me want to get these creative juices going, tie it into, playing video games, playing, different games growing up, and trying to maybe tell a story, through that, because I think that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm in a D&D campaign right now.
Mhm.
I'm a bard.
Nice.
And I just were having so much fun with it. One of the guys, actually, one of the pieces, because they posted on YouTube, so spoilers, I guess. We were fighting a giant crocodile,
Hmm.
and one of the guys, and there was a fire,
Hmm.
and one of the guys lit himself on fire and then jumped on the crocodile, and it burned him and
Nice.
it killed him. This thing had mega like hit points, like huge
Yeah.
amount, and we got him whittled down, and he literally jumped in the fire, tackled him, and killed him. And I
What a
was
great
like,
story.
in what world? And my DM's like, in this world. Like, it's,
Yeah.
this is my first time playing D&D, so I'm in shock.
Yeah.
Everybody else is laughing. Like, of course this happens. And I'm like, how is this happening?
Yeah,
So,
for anyone that's never played D&D before, like, I had an assumption that it was like super nerdy, and like there was very much like a, well, actually you can't do this because of this and this, like, and I'm sure there are groups like that, and there are people that don't follow the rule of cool, and whatnot. But for me, like, it was so much fun. Like you said, like, anything you want to do, like, you can try it. Doesn't mean it's
right,
gonna work. It doesn't
right.
mean
Just roll the
that
die.
it's, yeah. Like, in one of our Curse of Strahd things, I was a Aarakocra. For people that don't know, it's a giant bird, and there was a house that we had to fight, a literal walking house. So I took a barrel of pitch, and uh I had it in my hands. I dropped it on the roof, and then one of my friends lit a fireball at it, and we got the house basically down to like a quarter health with
One
that
night.
one thing. It's
Wow.
like you said, there's just so many different creative things that you can do. Anyone that hasn't played Baldur's Gate and they are maybe interested in playing D&D eventually, I would recommend downloading and playing Baldur's Gate because it's kind of like a video game version of D&D.
Hmm.
Earlier today, I'm a bard. I literally talked a room full of enemies into killing themselves because they like I was like, "Oh, and this and this and you should do this." And they were like, "You know what? You're right." And they did. And
I
it's
just
fun.
got that skill as a bard in my D&D
Mhm.
campaign. I can't remember what it's called, but it literally says that you can go ahead and basically like charm an enemy,
Yep.
and the first thing that it sees, whether it's good or bad, it's
I think
going
it's
to attack.
confusion.
Something like that. And
Yeah.
so and I was like, "Well, why would you do that? Because what if it attacks like us,
Yep.
or, something like that, or
You got to roll the dice. You never
right."
know.
And so for me, like, I'm really panicky about myself. I'm
Yeah,
the
yeah.
type of person that shoots arrows and stays really far back.
Yep. Little bardic inspiration
Yeah,
with your
yeah,
like loot or something.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
here's your bard die. You go.
Yep.
You do your thing. But yeah, and then the DM, he was like, well, basically how the last guy did it was he hit around the corner, and he put
Hmm.
the spell on the guy who was there. All they could
Yep.
see were themselves, and he just killed the whole room.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, fine, I'll take that spell. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So what other tabletop games have you played?
Yeah, great question. I did, for the longest time we didn't clean this up, and I had like 6 here. But some of my favorites recently have been monikers. That one's really fun. You have each person picks 5 cards. You have to memorize. You don't have to memorize your cards, but you try to remember your cards. Everyone's cards get put in a thing. First round, you can use as many words as you want to describe the card. So if the card is panda, you obviously can't say panda. It's kind of like
Right.
taboo. You might say like my favorite streamer on Twitch. And they're like, "Oh, panda." And then the next round,
Look at you
you can say
pandering.
you can say one word, right? So I might say Twitch. And then if people remember, they're like, "Oh, panda."
Hmm.
And then if the third round is charades. So you have to somehow, without saying any words, get them to guess the cards that you have. Um, I partly love it because I've never lost since we've played because I have like a photographic memory with this stuff, and it's stupid. Uh, my girlfriend hates playing with me because of that, but it's so much fun. That's Cards Against Humanity is one that I love playing, but the last like 10 times we've had people over, people have wanted to play it, so I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I
Um
get that. I have the bigger, blacker
yep,
box.
yep.
Yeah, I got that for
It's
our
like
wedding
you can only play it so many
with
times.
the same
Um
people.
with the same exactly. Like I want rotation. Code names, that's been
That's a
another one
great
of my
one.
recent favorites. But growing up we played Taboo, Pictionary, um, Scrabble, Monopoly we aren't allowed to play because my brothers and I fight every time we play. My family is so competitive. Believe it or not, my mom is the most competitive person in my family. Like it was my sister's birthday and we made her storm out of the table because we were playing Pictionary or Taboo. We were playing Taboo and I had made a sound like and I was like, "Ugh." And she's like, "You can't say that. It's not on the card." So then on her birthday, because we're competitive, she made that same sound like a card or two, and I'm like, "You can't say that." And she stormed off the table, and my mom was like, "He's right. He is right." Because she's so competitive. That's all she cares about is winning. I love my mom, obviously.
Yeah,
She's the most competitive person I know,
that's
which
so
is hard
funny.
for me to admit because I'm very competitive too.
Right. Oh, that's so funny. Spell moniker. Spell that game.
Monikers Monikers game. It might not be on Wikipedia,
Yeah,
but
it's not.
yeah, it's pretty new. So yeah, it came out in 2015, and I didn't know about it until one of Julia's friends brought it over. Every Friday night, we try to have a game night, whether people come over or Julia and I do it, just us. We try to do that, and somebody brought monikers over, and it's a ton of fun. But Codenames is probably my favorite of the tabletop games, period.
Yeah, and my favorite tabletop game of all time is Dixit.
Oh, I've never heard about that.
Oh, yeah. If you like the. Okay, so it's all about pictures. Let me see if it's even on Wikipedia.
It is.
Okay. Card game. So it's beautiful. Beautiful art, beautiful everything. And basically what you do is you have these cards and somebody will go ahead and pick one of their cards and they'll be like dream. And they'll put it upside down. And everybody else has these picture cards and they have to find something that they think says dream. They put the cards on, they shuffle them around, you flip all of them over, and people go ahead and pick the one that they think I made, which is dream.
Gotcha.
I just have to get one person to guess correctly in order to get 3 points. But if I get no one, everybody else gets 2 points.
Got it. So it's kind of like Jackbox with like Quiplash or something. Not Quiplash, but oh shoot, I own all the Jackbox games, but there's one very similar in Jackbox. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll need to get
art
that.
itself is I have all of the
expansions or whatever
and stuff.
Gotcha. So you might say like space,
right?
And you might have a spaceship, but somebody else might have like a planet or a star. Or okay, gotcha.
But you don't also want to be too obvious. So I could say
yeah,
clock,
exactly.
And nobody else has clock. If everybody chooses mine, then I get no points and they get 3 points.
Gotcha.
You can't be too obvious. You can't be. It's to me. It's one of the best games because you can play with children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Julia's family is huge. Julia's my girlfriend. I know I've mentioned it a bunch, but her family is huge on games as well. For a while, every time we went over, we'd play Trivial Pursuit. Which got a little boring after a while because it was the same Trivial Pursuit, so we had memorized the questions. But I bought her mom Codenames for her birthday. She loves that now. But one of the other ones that we like to play is called Blank Slate. For the same thing that you're talking about with Dixit, is it'll be like what's a good example? It'll be space blank, and you're trying to fill that blank, and you're trying to match with one person. If you match with 2 people, all 3 of you get 1 point. If you match with one and only one person, you get 3 points, and it's the first to 30 points. So same kind of thing. You can play it with kids, spaceship, space shuttle, space suit, like you said, it's great for kids, especially since there are kids in that side of the family. So
oh my gosh, I really like that. And I really like Moniker. These are games that I definitely am going to put on my list because they're pretty sweet. So
yeah.
All right, so we've covered tabletop game. Let's go back to video games. So you've listed a lot of them, and I do want to get to kind of all of them.
I listed them in order of like when I like those were like the big. I don't know, my likes. The way I tackled my likes, just for perspective, is I was like, all right, how would you describe me in things that I like? Like, I started obviously with baseball and audiobooks because those are like the 2 things that I'm most involved in right now, and just kind of went from there. So same thing with those games that I listed. Those are like in order of when I played / formative for me.
So we're going to start with the Old Republic.
My favorite game of all time.
So tell me about it. Tell me what you know.
I know everything. I just beat it last week for the 100th time. No, obviously just kidding. But I do know that is the one game, gun to my head, like you have to beat it blindfolded. I know I could do, because I've played through it at least once or twice a year, every year since I got it. That was one of the first games that I got. I got the Xbox, the original Xbox, when I was going into first grade. And it was one of 3 games that I got. I got this game, I got Top Spin, and NCAA football. The Top Spin and NCAA football were a 1-disc 2-game package that you got with the Xbox, which I thought was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game, I got it and I loved it. It was, um, I loved the Star Wars universe. Maybe not necessarily in love with the Star Wars movies. Slight tangent. I think that the universe is amazing. There's millions of planets and thousands of species, and yet every movie has to be about a Skywalker. For some reason, like, come on, branch out a little bit. Like,
Right. What
there's
about
so
the
many cool
TV
stories
shows
you
that
could
are
tell.
coming out?
Ahsoka, all of them think it's awesome. Mandalorian, same thing. But all of them are in the same time period
Got
where
it.
it's like, all right, we know this story. Like, I love those shows. I watch them. The hardest people to please in the world are people that love Star Wars because nobody's going to be happy.
Right.
Um, but the reason why I love this game so much, and maybe why I love D&D when I first played, and it's right there on the
Yeah.
and on there, is this game is kind of considered one of the major, like, grandfathers of, like, the modern RPG for video games. This was one of the first games that had a light or dark option, so you could be a good guy or a bad guy, and decisions that you made impacted this. This also was one of the first games that had companions with such deep backstories that you could or couldn't unlock based on interactions with them. In my opinion, one of the best stories, period, for any video game. No spoilers, even though it's almost as old as I am. Yeah, when did it come out? 2000, right?
2003.
Yeah, 2003. Yeah, I was 5 years old when that came out.
Wow.
But yeah, like, for me, just a very formative game. I didn't understand it very much growing up. I was confused. I vividly remember on the first level, you're on a ship that's under attack, and Trask comes and gets you out of your bunk. And I did not understand how to equip weapons. So I played the first, tutorial, level, essentially barefoot, no clothes, fighting people by just punching them.
Right.
And I remember
GoldenEye
vividly
style.
asking my dad. Yeah, exactly. I remember vividly asking my dad, like, how do I equip anything? And he comes in, is like, presses two buttons, and I have a sword. And I'm like, wow, my dad's a genius.
Aw, that's funny. Yeah. And I noticed that you put 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and I noticed
Funny
that the
story.
latest release.
I beat two before I beat one because I was so young that
Right.
I got the second one when I was like 8, and I figured out how to beat it, and I went back and was like, oh, so this is how this works.
Right. Yeah, they said the latest release is 2022. The
Yeah,
Old
it's
Republic.
crap.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, they made it an MMO. I was
Mm,
debating on putting MMOs as one of my dislikes, because I love grinding in games, like, when there's an end to the means, but I don't like when the game is specifically designed to grind.
like
Um,
Diablo.
Exactly. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. I've tried. I've played Pathfinder. I've played Black Desert Online. I've played so many Elder Scrolls Online to give people that I like playing video games with
Yeah.
the chance to experience a game that they like. But I try so hard. But the things that were like, hey, you have to log in 10 times in a row or your
Oh
horse doesn't
yeah.
grow. Like
Yeah.
that, talking about burnout, talking about feeling obligated to do something. I have a full-time job. I don't need another full-time job to log in and make sure my digital horse is fed. As much as I love my digital horse, I don't want to log in to feed
Have you ever tried
it.
Animal Crossing?
I love Animal Crossing. I
But you gotta
have
log
probably
in
like
to make
three or
sure
four
that
hundred
you're.
hours. You don't have to log in. I log in. My hair's all messy. I crush a few cockroaches, and Hammy is just as happy to tell me about his workout as he is, when I saw him every day.
Oh my god, that's the funniest thing. Because I get it. Like, I know exactly. Like, if I logged into, which the one thing that I hate is that Animal Crossing did come to an end, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no more new content, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you had such an opportunity to continue this.
That's what's going on with Nintendo. They're
Yeah.
trying to extend their life of their games.
Yep. Yep. Um. But yeah, Animal Crossing is the OG.
I love Animal
It's so
Crossing.
good.
That was I bought that for Julia during COVID. She's like, I don't want it. And then, a few hundred hours later, oh my god, my village is a 5-star and
Yeah.
I'm getting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Happy
I
Homes
actually
Academy.
my last class that I did, it was called Fisheries in Crisis, at the college I went to, and my final. Oh, my dog just ripped up his one of his first toys that he got.
Aw.
Oh well. Um, but my final project was to talk about what I learned in the class, and to do that I made a 5-minute video touring my aquarium on Animal Crossing, because half of the fish we talked about were in there, and I was like, I need a creative way to do this, and my
Yeah.
professor was like, oh my god, was that a blah 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 that I saw? I'm gonna have to buy this for my daughter. And he was
Aw.
like, such a creative way. Thank you. Normally, I just get boring PowerPoints, and
A
yeah,
plus. A plus. A
yeah,
plus. That's great. Um. Yeah, Animal Crossing is just so good. Okay, so we talked about Star Wars. Let's talk about Lord of the Rings, the video game.
yep. I have yet to this day. I have an emulator on my computer to play this. I have yet to this day beat the game, because when I was younger, uh, this game came out in 2002,
2002.
right? So I was 4 years old when this game came out. Watching the Lord of the Rings, I had a little sting. My dad got me the ring, got me a little Frodo outfit that I would wear. But this game was so hard. Even now, I go back to it. There was no autosave.
Oh wow.
Or sorry, there was autosave. I lied, but it was like at the end of every level. So like you had to like one shot your level, or else you did not make it through.
Wow.
Um, now when I went back and played it, like there was like a roundabout way to save, but it wasn't obvious to the 4-year-old me.
Right.
So I just remember getting stuck in the Mines of Moria with Gandalf, not being able to beat anyone, and I just stopped playing. But this was a game I probably started. I know how to beat the Shire, the first level Shire of this game, like the back of my hand, because I didn't know how to save. So like every time I booted this up, it's like when Pokemon came out and nobody knew how to save.
Right.
So you picked your first one and beat the first gym every time you played. That was this game for me. I never played Pokemon until I was like 13 and downloaded an emulator to play the OG games. So this was like my Pokemon. I played this every day, beat the first level. I'm an expert at this first level every day for like 5 years
So
until
funny.
I beat KOTOR or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I know several games, especially like on the PlayStation, the OG
Hmm.
PlayStation, where
Yep.
they didn't have they had saves at the end of each level.
Yep. Yep.
And it's so weird how games like that, like they didn't think to have an auto save.
Yeah. Well, games like this that were popular enough to make some money, where there was like a roundabout way to save, they were like, huh, maybe we should do more of this,
Right.
like
Right.
it's really
Yeah.
interesting how games have developed over time.
Yeah, that would be a really cool project that I would like to see somebody make. It's like the evolution of games. Although I've seen the Netflix documentaries, so I guess I kind of know it. But it's a documentary. If somebody could just
Yeah.
explain it to me in a few words, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Um, I'm kidding. I actually love documentaries. I
Me too. Me
I
too.
I eat those up. Fallout New Vegas,
Yep. That was the first Fallout game I've ever played.
2010.
And the first RPG that I played outside of Star Wars Knights of the Republic. Like this is what cemented that genre for me to be like a mainstay genre of like my video game experience.
Yeah.
Skyrim was up there, but this is what got me. Now I've played Skyrim, all the Fallouts, Baldur's Gate that we were just talking about, Divinity, Original Sin, Starfield's coming out. Like, this game is what got me hooked. Tying this all the way back to when we talked about MLB 2K, about how I love playing like the My Player mode. This game is what made me truly feel like I was in the game. Even Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, you're playing a character and like you have a backstory, that kind of stuff. In this game, while you're the courier and there are like story events with that, you can be a person that uses melee. You can be a person that uses snipers and handguns or energy weapons. Like, this was the first game where I truly felt like I was creating
You had choices.
a version of myself. Exactly. Yeah. And because of this game, I got hooked, and I love playing RPGs, like I said, to this day.
Yeah, Fallout New Vegas was the very first Fallout that I ever saw, and I loved
Mhm.
it. I really
Yeah.
do. And people come back and they're like, I hate New Vegas. All the other ones are great, but I hate New Vegas. And I'm like, I don't
Shut
know
up.
why, because it was pretty good. Like, from what
Yeah.
I remember, I really liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, good choice. Fallout New Vegas is a good choice.
Yeah, I love that game. I'm gonna make Julia play it one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing too, is it felt really accessible for me. Like, there was, because it slowed down time and you could shoot certain ways.
Yeah, the VATS. Yep.
Yeah, like that to me made it like, oh, okay, so it's not as like hardcore.
Yeah, it's not Call of Duty, which
Right.
I loved growing up as a kid. But like, there are high pressure situations in this game. If you're like overwhelmed, you can pause and think about it.
Right. Absolutely. Let's talk about low pressure games like Minecraft.
Probably my favorite game outside of Star Wars Knights of the Republic, because that'll never ever be unseated. But this game I got in 2010. So you can see it was first made public in 2009. I played it. It was called Minecraft Infidev. It was on a browser, so you could play Minecraft in a browser. And then I got it in October 2010. I know because it says it on your account whenever you log in.
Right.
And I must have like 15,000 hours in this game. Just, when my siblings were old enough, we played this together. We made like a family server. I've been playing this for so many years. Julia, it was the first game that I used to get her into playing games. We played a world together on my Xbox One, and she was like, "Oh, I don't like video games." And then we played like 300 hours of a world, and she's like, "Okay, I get it."
Yeah, yeah. Minecraft
Yep.
is a great gateway drug.
It is.
It really is. I try to get all my new friends to be like, "Hey, do you want to play a video game?" And they're like, "I'm not good at video games." I was like, "Perfect, let's play Minecraft."
Yep.
And
I'm gonna point you in a direction, and you're gonna dig, and that's it.
All I need you to do is just dig. You don't even need a weapon. You don't even need a
Yep.
shovel. Just dig some
Nope.
dirt.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, even crafting and teaching them how to craft is much easier for me on controller than it is on a computer.
Yeah.
My husband sticks to the computer version, and I look at how he crafts, and I was like, this takes forever. Like, I don't understand. You're like, sticks, and then you pull it out of the crafting thing. I'm like,
listen,
no.
when you've done it a billion times, it's just like anything. It's repetition.
Yeah, it's second nature.
Yep.
But I grew up with a controller on Minecraft. So
yep.
But what's funny is that I go back and forth from my Switch to my Xbox. And so, like, there's different worlds.
Oh my god, X and Y too.
X and Y, I have inverted.
Yep.
Or no.
So on the Switch controller,
right,
X and A are switched, and Y and B are switched. So it, like, I always lose in Mario Party when it's like hit A, because I played Xbox since I was 3 years old, and I'm like,
A is not where it needs to be.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. It's just funny because I'll always be like, okay, I need to jump over this thing, and then I just crouch. And I'm like, like I'm supposed to be sprinting, and I'm like, Oompa Loompa, It's quite the game. But yeah, I can't believe it came out like 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Yep, I've been playing it ever since it. I remember vividly going over to my grandpa's house, playing it on his computer. Um, when I had a sleepover one or two times, I remember being like, "Grandpa, can I download this game?" and him saying no, and so I did it anyway. And like making Minecraft worlds, and now
Yeah.
there's Bedrock and Java, and there's it's
Yeah.
great. I'm so glad that it's grown
Yeah,
to what it is now.
and I make sure like if I get new friends that like I put it in day only and like
Yeah, yeah.
peaceful so
Keep
that when
inventory on or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Yep, yep.
exactly. Like let's make this as easy as possible for you, but let's still have tons of fun.
Exactly.
Football manager.
Yeah. Oh man. This is probably the game I have the most time in are the original Star Wars Battlefront games that were on the Xbox and PlayStation 2. Um, those games I have each over 10,000 hours because every day my friends would come over and we would play. This is probably third. Minecraft is second. This is third. These games are a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Um, I play vanilla a little bit pro tune.
Yeah,
It's
I
still
play
fun.
vanilla. I have
Um,
no cheats on.
but these games are really fun because it ties my love of sports and the ability to again put myself in a video game. I mostly play video games for two reasons: either to a put myself in the video game, or two connect and play with my friends.
Right.
And this game allows you to be the general manager and manager of a soccer team. You get to pick whatever soccer team you want, whether that is the equivalent of like a single A baseball team, like one that's not at the highest level, and working your way up, because you can do that in soccer, or starting off as Barcelona, who's one of the best soccer teams of all time. And you're able to sign different players, release players. It's like franchise mode
Yeah.
only. And my favorite part about this game is there's no way for you to play the game. I know that sounds a little weird, but let me fully explain. You sign all the players, you create your tactics, and then you hit go. And you can substitute people, do whatever, but when you're playing a baseball game or you're playing Madden, like you're actively controlling your guys, you're telling them where to throw to, all that stuff. In this game, you don't have that ability. So it is very very much determined by luck and by what you are able to prepare versus I have so many hours in MLB The Show that I can beat any team with any other team on the hardest difficulty. That's not like saying I'm the best player ever, but it's like when you have 1,000, 2,000 hours in a game, you know how to play,
Right.
and your skill influences the game. um so this is that takes that element out of it, and it makes it a lot of fun. You have to deal with injuries, you have to deal with various other various other things, and I just love the ability to sit back, watch a YouTube video on this monitor, watch my girlfriend stream a game on to me on Discord so I can help her beat Hogwarts,
Right.
and be playing Football Manager, which is not a very active
Right.
game.
It's your
If anyone's
audiobook.
ever played exactly, if anyone's ever played Civ, it's very similar where like you don't actively need to be micromanaging everything. It kind of goes in turns and only goes when you click go. So my first one was, let me check my Steam. My first one was Football Manager 2012. I got hooked on a YouTube series, and every like 2 or 3 years I'll buy the new one. I have 2012, 2014, 17, 21, and I'm gonna buy the next one coming out. So you know it, it's just a big time sink, and I have thousands of hours in them, probably like 500 active hours. Like I said, I keep it on in the background, but just such a nice chill way to manage and get that like GM out of you without having to influence the game with how good or bad you are at the actual game itself.
And Protein, I believe he's talking about soccer.
Yep, yep.
Football.
It's a English company, I believe, that makes this. So, well, I don't know now. They started as an English company as Championship
Let's find
Manager.
out. British
Yeah,
developer.
yep. That's what I thought. Sports Interactive.
Sega.
Yep.
All right, I was curious about this one. What is Gary's Mod?
Yeah, Gary's Mod is a game, came out in 2006, and it is a sandbox game.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of Trouble in Terrorist Town, Prop Hunt,
Prop Hunt.
or yeah, so that game came from this game. And what Gary's Mod is essentially an open it's an open sandbox that says if you want to create a mini game, do it here. Roblox is similar, but obviously geared towards like a younger generation. But the reason why this is on here is because all throughout college, this is what I would play when I had free time outside of like the normal games that I played. My life is very ebb and flow. I get into things. We talked about that earlier where you get really hyper focused on things. And this was, for like 3 years what I did in college. And it was a ton of fun. Like I said, you can't tell my story of playing video games, I feel like, without this.
Okay. Physics based game mode,
Yep.
no set objectives.
I played a Star Wars game on this, where you fought as a clone, and I think it was like 128 people in
Wow.
there. So like I said though, anything that you want to do, like Trouble in Terrorist Town is essentially like a Secret Hitler, Goose Goose Duck, Among Us, like that type of game where one person or two people are terrorists and their goal is to kill the innocents. Everyone has guns, so innocents kill innocents, terrorists kill
Sounds
innocents,
like
and
Bang, the card game. You ever played Bang?
yes, like I haven't played it, but I've seen it. It's similar, like
Yeah.
it's again, it's just whatever you want to do. Like they're on the thing, Dark RP, Trouble in Terror, like those are just different servers. It's it's one of those games where I I have 1,066 hours, and I stopped when I had 1066 because that's a good number, and I realized I need to pull myself away, or else I was going to keep playing.
Got it.
I was like, my username is Strikeout1066. I can't have a game where I have more hours.
Than
That's
1066.
this silly.
That's so great. That's a good number to shoot for in any game, yeah?
Yeah, good cutoff.
Okay, so last one is Hell Let Loose.
Yep. That's what I devoted my last 2 years of addiction in video games to. This is a 50v50 World War II game where every single thing that's happening on the battlefield is because another person is doing it. There are tanks in this game. Each tank has 3 people controlling it. So if you get shot by a tank, that is a crew of 3 people working together to, kill you. There's artillery that people have to like do the math to get it to land in a certain area. I played this competitively for no money, but there was a competitive scene for this game. I got recruited when I was streaming it on Twitch. And unfortunately, you're hovering over it right there. In January, the ex-developers Black Matter sold the game to Team 17. And unfortunately, beginning of 2023, the game has kind of gone downhill. The Team 17 has done a lot of things that are not very popular with the community. They're the people that own Worms. I'm sure people have heard of Worms, but they've made it very microtransaction-y. Microtransactions are not in there yet because the player base has pushed back so far on it, but they bought the game and have just kind of taken some steps back with it, which is a shame because I love this game. But it's time to move on.
Yeah. Dredge. I know my husband's playing that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving Out. We played that because I
Yep.
recognized Team
Yeah,
17.
yeah, because they're big publishers, and they bought Black Matter, or not Black Matter. They bought Hell Let Loose to make that like a first party
Mm-hmm.
title. So essentially, I'm sure you know this, but for anyone who doesn't know this, Golf with Friends is one of my
Yeah, I was
favorites.
gonna say I know Team
Yeah,
17.
yeah,
That's the
yep.
game.
Yep, Golf with Friends. But Team 17 is a publisher, so they don't develop all their games. What they do is they'll say, "Hey, Rusty, make this game for me," and instead of the 10 people that would buy it normally and see it, we're going to release it and market it so that 10 million people see it and 200,000 people buy it. So they'll get a lot of that money. You'll obviously get some as the developer, but that's why there's so many games underneath them.
Got it.
And that's why in the middle you see who the developers were.
My Time at Porsche. I did that one.
Yeah, me too, Pro Tune. That's like I said, that's ultimately what happened, and it's a bummer. I have almost 2,000 hours in Hell Let Loose, and since they bought it, it hasn't been the same, and other games like Starfield and things are calling my name,
Yeah.
and it is what it is.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Um. Oh, they did Overcooked.
Yep, Overcooked. Yeah, they have some very popular games underneath them or that they made themselves, and um, all in all, I don't hate the company. I just hate what they did to the game that I love so much.
Of course. No, that makes total sense. Um, founded in 1990. That's crazy because I feel like
Yeah,
they're
that is.
new, but they're not at all. Um, all right, interesting. So that's interesting. By the way, I love Golf with Your Friends. So
Me
we
too.
we would play every Friday, my
Mm-hmm.
friends and I have a
Yep.
lot of clips of me cursing. There's clips on my Twitch channel of me just cursing during Golf with Your Friends. Like I just get roid rage.
It is a terrible game, but also an amazing game because no matter what, no matter how many you're losing by, you don't or winning by, you don't want to just take the 3-putt route to get there. I will gladly shoot 12 shots at the opportunity to get what would have been a hole in one because I need to do that
Right.
versus just taking like the easy 3-putt or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. And the hopping, people
Yep.
hopping and cheating, and the oh my gosh, yeah, I had to learn how to hop or I wasn't gonna make it in this town. All right, so we've got about 10 minutes, 13 minutes here. Let's go into romantic comedies.
Ugh. All right. I'm gonna sound like such a hater, and this is one of my biggest dislikes. And um, I'll preface this dislike by saying the majority of my dislike stems from a few things, but the majority or the major reasons why I dislike these is because of just the common themes that I see in romantic comedies. We talked about how much I love movies. I love different stories. I love movies that are not necessarily linear, like Quentin Tarantino makes some movies that you have to think about. Inception, I like. I like also cinematography, like 1917, one of my favorite movies recently where there was really awesome cinematography, where it was shot like it was one continuous shot.
Memento.
Romantic comedies, yeah, Memento, all movies that I love, all movies that, like I said, I've grown up and loved watching. And some of those are romantic comedies that are on that list. My biggest issue with romantic comedies is if you put an attractive person in glasses and everyone has to pretend that they're ugly.
Right.
type of thing. Like I don't know what the terminology of that is, but like stuff like that, like it makes it seem like one, you have to look a certain way to make people attracted to you, and it's a very Hollywoodized version of what love is, and it's just so formulaic. Like there, somebody's love story doesn't have to be, oh, I was dying and this kid who was a delinquent came to do the play with me, and then we got married, and now even though my dad's a pastor, he let me get married type of thing.
Right.
Like, like that's a great story. I loved it. I watched it, but like ultimately, it's probably my
Trash.
least favorite genre of movies. Mostly because like there is no right or wrong way to fall in love, and there is no, you don't have to look a certain way. I hate the tropes. That's the word I'm thinking of. The ugly Betty trope or whatever. You put Gal Gadot in glasses, and or Jennifer Lopez in a maid uniform,
Oh
like Made
God,
in
yeah,
Manhattan,
yeah.
and you have Ralph Fiennes, who would only have ever noticed her when she comes out in the dress that she stole. Like it's such a convoluted way to tell a story when
Yeah.
you can tell the same story and have both people be maids. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just,
The Hallmark Channel must be your favorite channel.
oh my god. Listen, the health in health, my senior year, we watched so many Hallmark movies, so I'm not gonna hate on Hallmark because it got me a lot of free sleep time first period.
Right,
Um, but
right.
like I said, I probably sound like such a hater for people that love these
No.
types of movies, but
You have
man, it is just
opinions.
not for me.
You have opinions. Um, the have you ever seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction with Will
um,
Ferrell?
maybe I'm so it's funny. I Part of the reason why I love audiobooks is because I'm terrible with names. Um, and the way that the audiobooks work is normally they have different voices for different characters, so it's really easy for me to remember.
Right.
I'm not good with names, so I might have seen this. Let me look at the picture of this.
It's Will Ferrell in a serious role,
Yeah,
and basically somebody is writing a book, and it turns out to be about Will Ferrell's life, and so he hears the
interesting.
narrator.
Interesting. I don't think I've
I
seen
don't know why
this.
I'm not looking this up. I don't know why I'm just
Oh,
trying to
all good.
explain this to you. Um, yeah. And I don't want to go through the things.
Oh
Agent
no, all
begins
good.
hearing a disembodied voice narrating his life as it
Interesting.
happens, seemingly the text of a novel in which he stated that he, the main character, will soon die, and he frantically seeks how to prevent that ending.
Interesting. I'll have to watch this.
And it's
Maggie
just,
Gyllenhaal's in it. Shout
yeah,
out her, Spider Man.
yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah.
And just this movie actually is the reason why my husband and I have this wedding song called
Oh, that's
Whole
awesome.
Wide World by Reckless Eric. Although we picked a completely different version. Um, but yeah, so I suggest this movie to everybody.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
take a look. I love movies. Like I said, I've already gone to the movies 5 times this month, so I'll just watch this
do
on
you pay for
Netflix.
those movie passes where you like pay?
Uh, I don't, because most of them are like Tuesday nights,
Oh,
and
okay.
Tuesdays are one of the days I go into the office, and I get home at like 7, and I'm just
Right.
beat from driving for like 3 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I know some of them just be like, if you want to see a bunch of movies, you'll pay, $50 and you'll be able to see
Yep,
as many movies as you
yep,
want.
yeah. I'm on like the Stubs, whatever, so I
Okay.
pay like $5 or $12 a year, and I've gone to 5 movies this month, and I've saved that much in fee because you don't get any fees,
Right.
so it's totally worth it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What movies have you seen?
Let's see. I saw Barbie. I
Mm-hmm.
loved Barbie.
Barbie was great.
I saw the new Indiana Jones movie.
Okay.
It was all right. It was closer to the original series than the last one was. That's for sure. Um, Definitely not as good as those. I saw a movie called Theater Camp.
I
Um,
wanted to see that actually. I
it's
saw.
still in theaters.
Okay.
it was fine. Like it's what you expect. You pay $15, you laugh. You're probably never gonna watch it again, but
Yeah.
it was fine. I was gonna see Oppenheimer, but 3 hours long. I
Yeah.
love movies, but ever since I started this new job, I've been so exhausted when I come home. Because I have a 11-month-old puppy who can't be left for more than 5-6 hours at home. So I
Right.
actually drive to my parents' house every day, drop him off. He gets all the TLC from my siblings and my mom who are home for the summer, and then I drive there, pick him up, and then drive back home. So it adds
Wow.
like an hour to my drive every
Yeah.
day. It's all good. I listen to audiobooks. It's worth it while he's getting older. Um, but I'm just so beat from driving on the parkway every single day. For
Yeah.
anyone that doesn't know, New York, New Jersey, I live near Philly now. It is not fun to drive every day in New
No,
Jersey.
not at all. Not at all. You should have put traffic in your dislikes.
Oh my god. I want to get away from talking about traffic. I don't need to. Everyone dislikes traffic.
Yeah. Nobody's like,
We don't need
hey.
another white dude on the internet talking about how he hates traffic.
Sorry, that's great.
No, it's all good.
Um. Okay, so I, let me see. I'm curious about
Cheese
this
sticks, yeah.
one. Is planned
Oh
obsolescence a book or is it a
no,
okay?
so it's basically, long story short, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. Planned obsolescence is why things aren't made to the quality that they were in the past. Not to be like one of those people that's like, oh, and things aren't like they used to be or whatever. But a lot of things, with iPhones, a lot of technology fall
Made to
under
break.
planned obsolescence. Yeah, made to break, or make repairing those devices so difficult yourself that you just buy a new one. Right.
Yeah.
That's been a big topic of debate recently, with iPhones, with the right to repair. I don't know if anyone's heard about the right to repair. But essentially, your screen broke, your battery died. There is no way for you as the consumer to fix that. And while I can understand from a phone or a certain, technical aspect why you wouldn't want somebody to be able to completely open and dissect your devices, it also sucks that if you have $1,000 phone and it breaks, the only option is for you to buy another $1,000 phone
Right.
versus fixing it yourself. It's not just iPhones, obviously. I'm just picking on them, but just in general, it is just so frustrating. Cars, trucks, anything that you can think of nowadays, dies so fast. One of the ones that didn't, and they're actually out of business because of this reason. The rice cooker company, I forget which one. It just went out of business. One of the rice cooker companies made their product so good that everyone bought them during the pandemic, and they everyone bought them. There's nothing else that they can do. Like,
Right.
their market was filled, and they don't break, so they're not making continued income, which is why a lot of these companies have planned obsolescence. However, it's extremely frustrating from a consumer standpoint to not have a product that you can rely on.
So, would planned obsolescence also be like when video games start doing microtransactions or battle passes? Because I
So,
feel like you have a video game and it's always going to be that video game, so
mhm.
that way nobody's going to buy the new video game. But if you go ahead and add a paywall behind it, then people are going to continuously pay for that video game.
I would say that both planned obsolescence and loot boxes and battle passes come from the same cause of corporations wanting to make more money, but they're two different solutions that the companies have. So I would say they're parallel with each other, but planned obsolescence, I think, is more like the physical. I would describe it as more as a physical breaking down of, um, like hardware.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
It's a good topic. I like that you
yeah.
put that.
Yeah.
Let's end on dogs, not dog welfare. We don't need
Dogs
dogs.
in warfare.
I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know
gonna
why
end
I
on a
did
high.
that.
We're gonna end on a high note.
I
I'm
don't
just
need
kidding.
to bring that up. Just dogs. Why is that an option? Okay, so tell me why you like dogs. You're not a cat person.
So I did have a cat growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, my second youngest brother, I have two brothers. My second youngest brother is allergic to cats. And we had to give my cat away. It's all good. I'd rather have my brother than a cat. I don't dislike cats, but the best cats are described as like they're like a dog. You know what's always like a dog?
A dog.
Dogs. I love dogs. I always wanted a dog growing up. But with at one point 3 siblings under 3 years old, I told my girlfriend I let my dog out. Come here, buddy. Come here. I was never able to have one. And the first thing that I did, the first purchase that I made, oh, he's laying on the ground. He's a tired boy.
Aww.
Yeah, there he is. He's
Aw.
hiding behind us. But the first thing that I did when my apartment complex said that you're allowed to have dogs was get one.
Yeah.
I didn't like consider about my furniture. I didn't consider anything. I was like, I went on a website where it was like you can look for puppies. I found one that wasn't from a puppy mill, and I got it. And it's Buddy. Come here, buddy. And it's been the best purchase I ever made in my whole life. And I always wanted a dog, and they're the best. Come here, buddy. Here. Come here. Come on. Come on. He's thinking about jumping up.
Yeah.
There he is.
Oh, hello, buddy.
Yeah. But he's a good boy. He's almost 1 year old. Like I said, he gets to go play with people 3 days a week, run around. My parents and siblings dote on him because they always wanted a dog too. So basically, when he goes to my house, it's like, why is somebody not actively petting me right now? I come to this house for one reason, and that's to get attention for the 5 hours, 6 hours that I'm here every day. And you need to bring me outside on a walk every 10 minutes.
Oh, buddy.
You're a good boy, buddy. But yeah, I love dogs. Like I said, I always wanted one growing up. My dream dog was a golden retriever, and that was the first thing that I did was buy him when I was able to have one.
Oh, that's so cute. Buddy is a good note to end on.
Yep.
Not dogs in warfare.
No, not dogs in warfare. Buddy, you're not enlisting. You're not allowed.
He has Vietnam flashbacks.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, this was a sweet interview. This was one of the most conversational interviews I've ever had. To be perfectly honest with you, it's a very back and forth. I don't normally talk as much as I've been doing, so I appreciate the conversation.
We got to get you involved too.
Yeah. I just thought I feel bad talking about myself, and this is all about you. This is your show.
That's all good.
This is your show. I will upload this on YouTube, so you will be able to show your friends and family.
Well, thank you so much for having me, by the way. I had such a fun time too.
Oh, I'm so glad. Next week we're going to have Alan the Yellow-Eyed. He is my DM, and he is an awesome human being. Let me do this. We're probably going to go to Davy's eating a sandwich. Let's see, though. I don't want to go to Remnant. I don't want to go to Art. We can go to Baldur's Gate. We can do music. We're going to do music because he's making music in Ableton right now, and that's what I've been doing. So I don't know if he has been watching me and he's got the bug or what. But we're going on to Delta Crab Music. Delta Crab Music was our guest last week, and so I'm excited to go visit him again. Strikeout, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And this is the raid call. And guys, thank you so much, and I will see you on the other side.
Sweet.